I think we can all agree at this point that the Acolyte show has not surpassed our expectations up to this point. There's been some highs and some very big lows, but the highs for me, and I think for a lot of you too, I felt a connection somehow. When Qimir was revealed, especially episode 6 kind of gave me more respect towards Qimir. Not because of some cringy dialogue here and there, but his origins, his sheer presence, and what he represents, it's kind of different from those traditional characters. And that's what we love ultimately in Star Wars, these weird different characters who break from the mold. And I think Qimir is exactly that type of a character. All the other characters are not really up to my taste. I mean, you can make an argument for Master Soul, of course, he's definitely a Qui-Gon type, and I really love the Qui-Gon character and the Qui-Gon persona. Qimir is something totally different. I think Qimir has that Darth Maul vibe. He is a loner and he will carve his own path if need be. And this is why I think if the finale of The Acolyte completely disregards and destroys Qimir's character, then I think this will be the ultimate betrayal. I think that everything that we've seen from even episode 7, where we've talked about it constantly in my videos, where episode 7 didn't really reveal anything new, and in the end, it only revealed that the Jedi were not mostly at fault. They didn't deserve what happened to them decades later and May going so ham on them. But whatever the case, I'm really focused on Qimir right now because it seems like Coral surviving episode 7 has all the signs that Leslie Headland is about to focus more on Coral's survival, on May and Osha, rather than Qimir. Qimir is literally positioned to be just fodder at this point. I suspect that in episode 8 in the finale, he is just gonna die, leaving out his message out into the world, perhaps create a Knights of Ren type of situation, but I really suspect that he is about to just become fodder, and he doesn't deserve that. He deserves way more than that. I mean, think of the possibilities, especially with Plagueis. So just imagine how powerful Plagueis is, and if he actually makes it into live action, it would be something pretty spectacular. Now, in the last video, we talked about what is the significance of this planet and how it could actually give us an indication that Plagueis and Tenebrous might be on their way. One of them or both of them, we still don't know because Qimir is being super secretive. Perhaps both of them are alive at this point and they, as he said so himself, discarded him, but we will see. We're going to talk a lot about his scar on his back, that it is prominently featured twice, not only the time he enters the pool, but also the time when he is working on his helmet and he wipes sweat off his face, you again see his scar. By the shape of it, most fans have talked about it is probably Vernestra with her light whip. Perhaps it is not a coincidence that we see both of them at the same time in this episode. We see Vernestra using her light whip in this episode, in episode 6, and also twice we see Qimir's scar. So is that a connection? Perhaps, because it seems that way, but a lightsaber, an ordinary lightsaber or force lightning, could have done that as well. This is why I think him talking about somebody discarding him could be Plagueis, and this planet might give us a clue as to why. There were speculations from episode 5 that he was not a Sith, that Qimir was perhaps a Knights of Ren founder, and we still might see that happening because we don't know if Qimir survived this and perhaps went on to found something outside of the Jedi and Sith. We don't know that, but as of right now, he does seem to be something more than that, a Sith apprentice, a Sith assassin, similar to what Darth Maul was once he was discarded. You see, everything parallels to the other stories. Darth Plagueis discarded Qimir for Palpatine, for Darth Sidious, the Golden Apprentice. And what did Palpatine do? He did exactly the same thing. He discarded Darth Maul and Count Dooku for the Golden Apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. Going back to the old cliche of George Lucas, it's like poetry, it rhymes. But believe it or not, there's more proof that a Darth Plagueis mention might happen. You see, already we have a lot of Legends lore starting to creep into canon. Cortosis was, of course, canon way before this series, but never in live action. And now, not only did we get Cortosis in episode 5 just by viewing the helmet, but we get a complete mention as Qimir not only mentions that his helmet is all cortosis, and the benefits is not only shorting lightsabers and being protected from lightsabers, but also it has a force sensibility too. It blocks out all the outside and gets you in a true state of mind. It's only you and the force, and we see that with the Darth Vader Easter egg in the end, where Osha puts on the mask and the breathing resembles heavily the one with Darth Vader. It even ends there with her breath. Well, speaking of legends starting to creep into canon more and more, especially with this series, we also have this planet. If it's not Ahch-To, I have suspected that this looks a lot like the planet Baldemnik. This is a Legends planet that is originally connected to Darth Plagueis. You see, in reference material for Tenebris and the Darth Plagueis novel, of course, that is mainly the source of everything we know about Darth Plagueis and how he taught Palpatine. The Baldemnik planet is very significant. Baldemnik is described as an ocean planet that is adorned with rocky tropical islands. It is located in the Outer Rim territories. Its harsh climate discourages most people from visiting the planet, despite the beauty of its giant rock cliffs, pristine beaches, and vast azure oceans. At some point in Baldemnik, it was made aware that the planet was rich with deposits of cortosis ore that ultimately fell into the hands of Darth Tenebris and Darth Plagueis. Now hear this, Higo Damask, the original name of Darth Plagueis actually killed his master Tenebris on this planet, on Baldemnik, and he later, as Higo Damask, acquired the mining rights to a large portion of the main continent on this planet. You see, the similarities are so big that I think this is not only a direct connection to Darth Plagueis, but also the reason why they didn't name this planet, why it was an unknown planet rather than revealing it as Baldemnik, because that would give away completely the secret that this is a direct Easter egg and reference to Darth Plagueis, and Qimir with his speech to Osha would give the game completely away. I'm thinking that they are reserving his revelation that Darth Plagueis was his Sith master until the finale, perhaps. I don't think we're outright going to see Darth Plagueis in live action. That would be phenomenal, but I don't think they're going that route. I think that at the very least, we're only going to get a mention of him. And of course, Plagueis is often speculated if he is a folklore, a legend's tale of Darth Sidious when he tells Anakin that could be perhaps a lie, a ruse by Palpatine. There's been a lot of speculation that he might not even exist. This would put everything to bed. This would put everything to rest. Even those who contend that he is canon, he was referenced in this or that, a mention of Darth Plagueis officially in canon in the Acolyte series would lay this whole debate to rest. Darth Plagueis is real. He was the original master of Qimir before pushing him away for another apprentice. I think it's too early for Darth Sidious, of course, that he got Palpatine, but again, similar to Palpatine, it doesn't mean that Darth Plagueis' second apprentice could be Palpatine. It could be somebody else entirely until he discards of that second apprentice too, and ultimately, years later, gets to Palpatine himself. Well, I made my case that Darth Plagueis is definitely the one hiding behind everything, even behind Qimir, and I think Qimir was severely traumatized, as you can see. He is not well. He thinks he is well, but he has been deeply disturbed by not only the Jedi. He mentioned that he was a Jedi a long time ago. That's another clue that something is not right with Qimir. Osha doesn't remember him, so he says, well, this was long before your time. But Qimir is young. He is not that old to be telling Osha that you were too young when I was an apprentice. Perhaps he was just a youngling. Who knows what happened really? But it definitely does appear that not only are we going to find out that Qimir was betrayed by not the Jedi, but his Sith master, but that his Sith master was indeed Plagueis. Now Qimir wants his own power of 2, so we'll see what's going to happen. Tell me all your thoughts down below. Do you actually think this is the planet Baldemnik where Plagueis killed Tenebris? And will Qimir be revealed to be the former apprentice of Higo Damask, Darth Plagueis?